Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. This is iAllegedly, and I've got a good one for you today because with the next banking crisis, here's one thing you have to look forward to. You have to look forward to the banks seizing your money with this coming crisis. Before I get into it, please take a second. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Share this with everybody. Don't forget, I've got a Patreon channel you can sign up for, and also the email list, which is growing to be quite large. You can be part of that. An email is going out in the next couple days, so you want to sign up for that. But first things first, so much is happening with glitches with banking right now that you have to pay attention to. There are certain sites that you can go to that give you warnings about this site's down or that site's down, Google's down, this site's down, YouTube's down, whatever. The biggest problem and the most searched right now are banks. Banks are down right now. All the apps are down. One thing I got a real request for was to come back out here on a Saturday because they do this Saturday yoga in the park, which is crazy. They get a ton of people here, guys, absolutely lined up. But U.S. Bank was the latest bank to have a downturn for days where they had pockets of areas where the app was down, the site was down, and even the 800 number, it looked like it was down as well. Well, this is kind of a problem, and the timing is not really that good for people because as you look at everything that's going on right now, we always tell everybody how they need to prepare, but isn't it kind of suspicious that you've got a bank that they're saying, oh no, everything's fine, it's not down for a long period of time, it's just been a pocket, regional, but you had this region, that region, different regions of the country that USA Bank services, and then they're down. So again, guys, the problem with it is most people don't get it. When you put a deposit in the ATM or walk into the bank, it's not your money anymore. They use that money for their services during everyday business, and they lend it out, and they have to keep less and less money in the bank right now. And the problem with this is that it used to be a larger percentage. Banks at one time had to have 25%, then down to 10%. Now it's down to even 1% of the funds that they have to keep on hand for depositors. Some areas it's zero right now. So you could have a bank that says that they have all these different assets and have nothing. So how do you prepare for this? You've got to have cash on hand. You've got to prepare yourself for your lifestyle. Now here's the thing. People write me and they say, hey Dan, I'm broke. I got no money. How much cash how do I get cash, and how much should I have on hand? Well, that again, this is all relative for your lifestyle. Are you a person that spends, thousands of dollars a month to live? Or you're somebody that can get by on $1,500-$1,800? Okay? Well, it's all relative. And again, so many people are suffering right now, and you've got to make arrangements right now to be protected for a longer haul if something happens, because we've been given warning after warning after warning. The perfect example right now is the baby formula shortage. Now, super familiar with this, and because one of the companies, the largest companies that makes baby formula is Abbott Labs, huge medical company. Now, about 90 days ago, they predicted there was going to be a problem with this. Government didn't do anything about that. But with baby formula, here's the thing. Lower income people are part of different programs. I believe the program is called NIC, and they're given vouchers to get baby formula. So even because these people do not have money, their children do not starve and do not suffer. So they're given vouchers where they can get formula for next to free, and that usually takes up a lot of the formula. The problem that we've seen lately is that there's just no formula out there. So again, if anybody wants to email me at iAllegedly@gmail, if you have an infant or you have a niece or nephew or a grandson or granddaughter and you would like help and you're looking for it. I was in a Walmart yesterday, and I go out of my way now when I go into stores. I was at a Stater Brothers, and they had baby formula here in Orange County, California. So if there's a particular brand, email me. If I can get you some, I'll be happy to email it. The thing that infuriated me was these two women were at Walmart, and there were two women together, and they said they could only buy 5 cans of the baby formula. Now, of course, it's not for hoarding, but I'm like, wait a second, you know, it's the only place we found it, and they only had 5 cans, so I would have bought that for them to help them out. But again, back to the money situation. How much money do you need to live if you had an extended problem? Whether it was a natural disaster, whether it was a bank failure, regardless of what it is, what if the banks were just closed? What if there's a power outage and you had no money? How are you going to get through that? Well, again, with everything I'm reading right now, Australia is having a huge problem. And they're the first country to sit there and say, wait a second, we're upside down financially, because there are so many people right now that got hit with rent increases of $300 and cannot afford it and have to move out of the apartments and sleep in their cars. Read the article, guys, it's below. That is insane, guys, that people are that financially upside down that $300 is going to throw them into a loop. Scott Walters, realtor, did an article about how 70% of the people don't have $1,000. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting, Scott. Let me research that. Well, it gets even worse, guys, because most people don't have $700 right now, let alone $1,000 to get through a natural disaster. So with that being said, you know, what are you going to do to prepare for this? And I get people that write me and say, Dan, I live paycheck to paycheck. How do I get ahead? What do you have that you can sell? What do you have that you don't need in your life right now that you could cut out? And again, you know if you're doing something irresponsible. You know if you're spending money on alcohol that you shouldn't be spending when you have no money. If you're spending money on cigarettes, things like that you shouldn't do. You know, look at a cheaper cell phone plan. Look at ways to save money right now and implement that in your own life, okay? So, again, guys, see, I could never do yoga in a group like this. I just couldn't. I, for one, am one of those people that could sidetrack because of women, okay? So that's just me. So, what can you do to save money? Let's talk about cutting back. Let's talk about what you can sell. And again, walk through your apartment, look through your car. What do you have that somebody would write you a check for on eBay or on LetGo or on one of those sites, Craigslist, that you could sell and get yourself some extra money? Do it. Look what you can do to live cheaper right now. You know, the one thing you have to look at with this baby formula thing, and that's a realistic problem, is that we're going to have food shortages that are going to happen in the coming months. I'm totally convinced of it. But this is your warning. This is what it's going to look like. It's going to look like this with the food shortages. Now, when I was in Walmart, I'm trying to find certain waters and certain juices and things like that I like that they have because they're cheap. They had none of it right now. And I'm like, wow, this is just the shape of things to come right now. And that we're going to see more and more of these problems, you know, in the coming months, and you have to be prepared for this. A huge percentage of Australians right now have to go out and get a second job. And you can say, oh, boo-hoo, you know, you're living with outside your means and you got to go out and get some money. No, it's coming to a theater near you guys. This is gonna happen in your own life. And the problem with it is that don't buy things you don't need. Don't buy junk. Just look at what you can cut out. And just because you have money doesn't mean you should spend it, because I'm telling you this right now, and I get people that write me and tell me how stupid I am because, you know, my husband's a talented guy and he'll never get fired. Middle management right now in this world is being eviscerated in the corporate world. Saw that article from the last video on Business Insider, how it's not necessary. Well, they're going to start cutting people's hours back. They're going to start cutting pay back. You can talk about this being the greatest employment time that we've ever seen in history is insane. It's an absolute lie. My daughter is in her mid-20s, and she's got friends that are very talented, some with degrees, some without degrees, with various skills. None of these people can find jobs right now. Now, they can go and work at Starbucks and places like that and get themselves, 18 hours a week, things like that, which is fine. Some people have to do things like that, but you've got to sit there and figure out, what the stepping stone job is right now. So we've all had that. I've had it. I've hated it, but it was never my career. It never defined me. It was just something I did temporarily. A lot of people cannot handle that. So Australia, this is a real problem because they're starting to show cracks in the middle class in a big, big way. Now, they had bigger lockdowns than we had here, and they had bigger problems over there. Isn't it? Let me sidetrack it for 1 second. Isn't it crazy, guys? You got all these people with yoga over here. You got the karate class over here. It's just a beautiful spot. But, they're not paying for this place. By the way, if you wanted to teach a class like that, you go to a park and set it up and pass out flyers. She was just talking before I started filming about how it's, she's got a special. If you sign up early for the class, it's $20 for the class. But, guys, there's got to be 40 people there, okay? 40 times 20, $800 for teaching a yoga class out there. So, let's have a seat for a second. So, with Australia, they have same thing as New Zealand, and I'll cover that in a second. And you can say, Dan, this is so far away from us. It doesn't matter if you live in the south, doesn't matter if you live in the north, east, west, whatever. You're starting to see cracks in financing, big cracks, big problems, and the banks don't have the money to deal with this. In Australia, there's a tremendous amount of people that bought adjustable homes with adjustable mortgages. Okay, good for them. The problem with it is that with the adjustable mortgages, they're starting to turn over right now. And with the interest rates going up, which are inevitably going to go up worldwide, okay, it's not just going to be low interest forever. These people are going to lose their homes because they're going to be priced out of owning those assets. Now, oh, Dan, BlackRock's going to buy it. All these other investment banks are going to buy it. There was an investment fund that just bought, they bought 87 homes in Central Florida for $45 million. Now, straight from the developer to the purchase of the home. Guys, that's insane, guys. Now, again, I don't want to live in a house where everybody's renting. I don't mind renting a house. I don't mind renting a house at all. I don't mind renting a house in a nice neighborhood because you're surrounded by people that have pride of ownership. There's zero pride of ownership when you have everybody owning, BlackRock, whoever the investment hedge fund is. The story's below. Whenever you have that, you have no pride of ownership at all. Now, you've got to get yourself ready. You've got to get yourself ready with food. You've got to get yourself ready with money. Now, again, the money thing. If you don't have a lot of money, look at what you can do to sell. Look at what you can do to get a side hustle or side income or part-time job, and try not to spend it. And that's the most difficult part, is that people, oh my gosh, I got an extra $200, and they walk through it. But I'm telling you, please, if you believe me or believe anything, we're coming to such a dark time right now that is going to be so bleak as far as opportunities, as far as jobs, as far as food in the grocery stores. And if you don't think that that's going to happen, you're kidding yourself. If you have extra money and you can stock up right now, dry goods, water, pastas, beans, everything like that. Now, again, hearing Fran Glover's story from about the USDA and the Department of Agriculture and how they gave her very little stuff. Fran Glover runs Joseph Dream House, the charity that this channel supports quite a bit. And when you have that, when you see that she's not getting food, she's not getting eggs, she's not getting cheese, she's not getting anything other than beans, guys. How do you feed a family on beans? And you can sit there and say, it's every man for himself, tough, okay? Well, we're going to see that, guys. We're going to see a very, very bleak world coming up very, very quickly, where it is going to be every man for himself, and you better be prepared for that. So, let me know, guys, if what you think about this, because I think that every little bit that you can do to stock up, you should stock up. The baby formula thing, you know, we can have arguments. Where do you think all the baby formula is going right now? Okay? You tell me. You guys tell me where you think it's going. I know exactly where it's going. And I'm really curious as to what you guys think about this. But, you know, you just can't breastfeed. Everybody just can't do that. Some women don't have the ability to do that. Some women also adopt children and you can't breastfeed. Okay? So we need to take care of the segment of the population that can't take care of themselves. That's the elderly and that's children. And right now we need to work together and have a peaceful way of fixing this so that everybody's handled, because I'm telling you right now, I'm already getting notifications from Social Security about how we're going to see the largest increase in January 2023 that we've ever seen for Social Security money, and it'll be unlike anything you've ever seen in your lifetime. Okay. Well, that's great, guys. What are they going to do between now and then? And also, what are you going to do if inflation goes up so much that it doesn't cover your daily needs? Okay? If inflation goes up too high and you're given, you know, $200, it doesn't do anything for you. You're losing money every month. And that's what people don't want to accept or don't want to admit. So, you know, as far as the money, as far as these banks right now, this is a scary time right now, because I don't believe the problems that we're seeing with the banks are just it's a coincidence. There is no coincidence right now with any of this stuff. It just isn't. And you have to go out and you have to store enough money in your house. They say the average person should have $1,000 right now in the house. Well, okay, well, I'm a single guy, buy gas, you know, got some expenses. I try to figure out what it would cost me to live, and cash on hand and what you should have. It's probably 3 or 4 times that I should have in the house at all times. Now, do you have kids? Do they eat? You know, what if you had to get in your car and drive 40 or 50 miles to go eat? People don't want to admit that. That's coming, guys. The water purification is a big deal. If you can't get that, you can't find that, you know, look at alternatives. Look at, you know, water bottles and things like that. The water bottles have gone up an absolute ton right now, and I'm shocked at what people are paying for all that. You know, we used to be able to get a 24 pack of waters for $2.49. You know, it's $4 now. But how much do you need? How many gallons? You know, how many gallons a day? A gallon a day per person is what a lot of preppers say. But is that enough? Is that enough in a hot climate like this? They're going to limit water here inside of 2.5 weeks here in Orange County, which is going to be insane as far as what they're going to come up with for us. And once they do that, you know, it's going to affect lawns. It's going to, like my relative of mine calls it, the foreclosure look. It's going to give everybody the foreclosure look, because their lawns are going to be all burnt out, and it's going to be really bleak. So share your thoughts on this. How much cash do you need? You know, I would say conservatively $1,000 in your house. And again, this fund is not your emergency fund. Here's what people get freaked out. Well, wait a second, Dan. How much money should I have? You need to have money put away in a bank account. The ultimate, from what I've read with everybody, is if you could have 2 years of earnings put away in the bank. Now, I, for one, don't believe in the banks, don't believe in the security of the banks. So if you could have 2 years of earnings put away to live on, that's great. Because if something happened and you lost your job, or you wanted to go start a business, here's where businesses fail all the time, restaurants especially, is what if you start a business and nobody buys anything? Well, that's crazy. I make the best sandwiches in the world. My hamburgers are unbelievable. My tacos are the best. Everybody drinks coffee, Dan. No. What if they don't drink your coffee? What if they don't like you? What if your tacos are horrible? Okay? What if you brought in no money and you had all those expenses with that? Nobody wants to plan for that. Nobody wants to have that be a realization in their lives. So it's interesting on this side. We've got some waves over here, very small waves today, but you can see the waves over here. So Separate funds, separate savings. Long term, I love the preppers. I love to watch this stuff. I love the innovativeness of a prepper because this is business. This is art, okay? Understand this. The artist side of me, the writer side of me loves artists. I love musicians. I love people that write music, poetry, painting, whatever your art is. Well, the prepping is an art, guys. It really is. I mean, the fact that these people can take food and prep it and secure it in such a way that it can last years, they're gonna be ahead of the game. You know, the Depression, everybody thinks that it lasted just a short period of time. It was years. We're going into that. What's gonna happen when there's no food in these stores? How is society gonna take that? Okay? Think the government's gonna help you? They're not. You know, that's a joke right there. And every man for himself, every woman for himself, your family, your team. Again, we talked about team sports and how you can be the best team member. You guys got to do that right now. You got to take this all very seriously right now so that you're prepping for whatever can happen right now, and take this seriously. I'm gonna walk over to the yoga class and get some clips for you guys. You have to see this. Look at how clear the water is. Absolutely amazing. No waves, none at all. This is one of those phenomenons that happens every now and then. Now, what you're gonna see with real estate around the world is gonna set off what's gonna happen here in the United States. We talked about Australia and I mentioned New Zealand, but here's the problem with New Zealand right now is they're seeing home prices absolutely tumble right now. And that should be taken seriously. And the reason for that, they say, is because of the adjustable mortgages that are about to adjust again. People bought these variable mortgages, bought these homes, and they have short 2-year periods, and now they're starting to go up and they can't refinance the houses because interest rates have gone up, may have had a job change, whatever. But again, nobody plans on that. Nobody sits there and says, oh, I'm gonna lose my job in the next 24 months and won't be able to afford this house. Everybody thinks they're gonna make more money and become rich during that time. That's not the case. That is going to come here, and it's going to be a huge problem here in the States, and that's gonna be the thing that's gonna destroy real estate. So the other thing is we're seeing a mass exodus out of California. Again, we lost more people in 2021, but the first quarter of 2022, we saw people that, again, at the pace that people are leaving this state, it's record setting. And it's gonna be like anything you've ever seen, nothing like you've ever seen. And here's the thing, California, 2 things. Number one, they wanna raise our taxes, which is insane, but they have a $98 billion surplus that they don't know what to do with. So, you know, they're thinking about giving $400 vouchers away for gas, money to illegals. Just insane, guys. So we'll see what they do with the surplus tax dollars that they've taken here in California. Cryptocurrencies, you're seeing, first of all, let's talk about El Salvador. El Salvador in 2001 changed their currency to the US dollar because of the problems that they have. I don't know what their currency was before, but that's just what I found out. And then in September of last year, Bukele, the president, adopted Bitcoin, and they are losing it with Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin is a huge problem in El Salvador, and they are down an absolute ton, so much so that they're gonna probably default on their foreign debt. Here's the worst part, is that the Coinbase, the exchange, right now is getting sued, all these different lawsuits, for what the CEO said, and also for the fact that one of their stable coins is not so stable. So that's a problem with that, guys. And trucking company Express, XPRESS, they're laying off 5% of the people that work for them. China says that they have a bottleneck, and they've tapped out with the ability to export, and that you're going to see problems with goods being delivered around the world. Now, that's not just here in the States, that's around the world. So You throw in the Ukrainian-Russian shenanigans. You add that to the fact that even China says that they're going to have, a down period right now as far as their exports. It's over, guys. It's over. You're going to see less merchandise, less goods and services in stores, and businesses are going to suffer as a result of this right now. Components, parts, things to make things that people use are going to be in short supply. So, final thing I want to end this video with was two things. Number one, with the medical conference that I attended, here's a staggering fact that is disturbing, and that is when the health crisis hit, people gave up on regular doctor visits, and they thought telemedicine was going to take off. They thought it was going to be the thing that was going to end all, be all, which was great. Telemedicine in the last 6 months has dropped off again to where less people are using it because they can go back to their doctor. There's that, but here's the most staggering statistic. 84% of all pre-cancer screenings have been dropped. 84%. Guys, I am telling you, if you go to a doctor and you get yourself in front of a doctor, you need to demand that they do every pre-cancer screening test. These tests are very inexpensive. And again, it's not to alarm you, to freak you out, but you need to know that if you get a warning early, you can catch something early. And I've seen a lot of people's lives get saved because they caught cancer at a very early stage. So just ask, okay? And even state insurance, if you're part of the state insurance and you don't have private insurance, you can still ask for that stuff. Find out what tests can be made so you can find out if you're okay, because you'd rather catch it early. And here's the most staggering statistic that floored me. And that is that 47%, I'm ending the video on this one, 47% of people surveyed said they prefer to be by themselves and don't like other people. That's bleak. So I always love these study finds, articles, but I'm telling you, you can do a lot of things on your own. You can be successful on your own, but as a team, you're much more successful. Don't ever forget that. Things can be won as a group, okay? Have a plan, work it out with a team, okay? Please do not forget to hit the like button. Please don't forget to the subscribe button. Thank you one and all for being here. And again, the Saturday yoga class that you guys asked for. There you go. Okay? Isn't that nice? No, I'm not going to join them. Okay? I think I covered everything. Okay? I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you for being here.